Hello, welcome to Woodland Permaculture. I'm Jenny Wood and it's early November and today is a great day because it's harvest day. I don't get too many harvests yet in my permaculture food forests, but I can always rely on my apple tree, which was already here when we moved here, to give me apples every year. So I'm so excited. I'm going to harvest some apples today and hopefully make some applesauce because I found that that's the one thing I eat consistently from the apples is I will just eat the applesauce right out of the jars. So let's get started. Let's get these apples off the tree and into the kitchen. I'm also taking this opportunity to bring my pruners and trim off any dead branches that I can reach. Well, I didn't get a huge harvest this year, and I kind of suspected that was going to happen because all through the year I was getting apples dropping off, half or all rotten. I am suspecting that maybe that tree wasn't getting enough water this year. I just built the chicken run underneath it earlier in the year, and so since then I didn't really give it extra water. It was pretty well established, so I didn't think it would need a lot of extra water, but maybe that's why I didn't get as big of a harvest and a lot of my apples fell and rotted. If you have any clues on that, if any of you out there, know of why that happens, or if I'm on the right track and just need to make sure I water the tree next year a little better, then let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. But now I'm going to see if I can clean them up and see if I can make at least a small batch of applesauce. I also did do some pruning earlier in the year where I took off some apples that were in large clusters. I know that's something you're supposed to do, so I don't think that would have contributed to it, but I have no idea. And now I get to get out my apple peeler. Once a year, I get this gadget out, and I love it. I got it for Christmas a few years ago, and it makes life so much easier when it comes to doing apples. It will peel and core each apple all at once. So here, show you how it works. I need another bowl. All right. I think I'm about ready. First, I have to make this stick to the counter like that so that it's nice and solid. Put an apple on the spikes, and then I just rotate, and there it goes. It's taking off the peel, taking off the core, and I am left with a beautiful spiral of apple. I love it. And that is ready to get cut up a little bit more so that I can make applesauce. And then the core, I twist it off this way and the core comes off and all the peels go in the other bowl. There we go. This is going to keep me busy for a little bit. But I'll come back and show you what else I do. Okay, I got them all peeled and cored and cut up, and I've got actually enough for 2 batches. I only have this small pot to be able to cook them in. This one is my canning pot, and I don't want to cook the apples in it because that's what I do the canning in. So I think I'm going to have to cook them in 2 batches here and then can them. But I put them in a pot, I put some water in there, and now I'm going to put some lemon juice in there because that is what the recipe calls for, as well as some cinnamon. think I will probably put the other half of this lemon on those right there because these are all already getting brown. And I really don't want them to get any more brown while I'm waiting to cook them. There we go. Hopefully that will help keep those guys from turning brown. All right, so now I just have, oh, let me get cinnamon. All right, here we go. I've got some cinnamon, and I might add just a little bit of cloves, not a lot, because I'm not a big fan of cloves, but I might add a little something. There we go. A little bit of cloves and cinnamon. There we go. And then I'll stir them up, and then they cook for, 15, 20 minutes or so. I'm gonna blend them with my immersion blender, and then I'll be able to can them. Okay, I got one batch done and another one on the stove, and now I'm going to use my immersion blender to blend it all up into applesauce. All right, we're getting closer to the canning part. I've got beautiful applesauce right here. I also have some applesauce in the pot. This batch, the first batch, was a little thin. I think I added a little too much water. So I am trying to thicken it up on the stove just to let some of that moisture leave through the steam. And I also decided I'm going to add some molasses because I love molasses. So that's why this batch right here is dark. Once this is a little bit thicker, I'm going to add it to this bowl right here, put some more molasses in it, and then we're ready to go. I've washed my jars. So I have a dozen of these little pint jars, and I have washed them, and I am now boiling the first batch. So you got to boil them, even though you wash them, you got to boil them and sterilize them, and then I will fill them with applesauce, put the lid, wipe the top, put the lids on, and then put them in for about 10 minutes to seal them. So that is kind of the process I take. So we'll come back in just a few minutes when we're ready to do that. All right, here we are at the good part. I boiled the jars, the first batch of jars. I like to save the water from those jars because I'm going to need it again later, and I don't want to waste water. So put that over there, and now I have these 6 jars that are all sterilized and ready. Got a little bit of a drip in there. And they're ready for some applesauce. They're a little warm, so I got to be careful. But I'm just going to fill each one of these up. I'll do one. I'll show you one. And that water in that pot is boiling, so I'll be able to put these right back in. There. Now, oh, I need a big paper towel will do. Could also be a very, very clean napkin or something, but I just need to be able to wipe the outside of the rim. That's very important because otherwise, one, I've learned that the lids can stick to them, and also it can let in bacteria and stuff. So there was one. I covered it and I put it in the thing, and now I'm going to just keep filling these guys up and putting them into the water. And then once they are all in, once all 6 are in, and I know that they're covered with water, then I will time it for about 10 minutes for them to boil. Man, I made a mess of that one. Talking too much. There we go. There we go. There's the second one. Okay? I'll come back in a few, maybe when I'm all done. All right, it's time. I'm so excited. Been 10 minutes. They've been boiling for 10 minutes. Time to get them out. One of the tricks of the tray that I've heard is that you turn these guys upside down for them to cool. And the sealing, I think, actually happens as they cool, is when you might start hearing some pops in the lids as they cool and seal. So unfortunately, I used up all of my apples on this first batch. You experienced canners probably saw that a mile away, but I was hoping I'd get 2 batches out of it. But I got 6 jars plus almost a 7th jar. This one I didn't seal. I'm putting that in my refrigerator, and that's going to be mine. I'm going to be eating that in the next few days, maybe sharing it with my daughter. And, well, I'd give my husband something. He doesn't really care for applesauce. So, it'll probably mostly be meat, which I'm fine with. So there we go. 6 jars, well, 6, almost 7 jars of applesauce made with some cinnamon, a little bit of cloves, tiny bit of nutmeg, and molasses, because I love molasses. And those should be really good. That is what you call a harvest. And that's one of the permaculture principles, of course, is to obtain a harvest. You don't want your work to go to waste. You want to get something out of the work that you're doing. So now I've gotten something from the work I'm doing. I'm hoping next year I'll do more. I have a neighbor a couple of doors down that I may have mentioned before, and they have a quince tree. And I'm itching to do a little more canning, so I may ask them if I could get some of their quinces. I don't think they're going to be using them. Very few people know what to do with them. So I think I may get the quinces and jar up some quinces sometime too. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. You guys really make this all worth it, and I really appreciate it. Take care, and God bless.